What if Steve Young played for the Broncos in 2000? Yeah, I know you're probably thinking I'm just making this up on the fly, but no, I actually found this out over a year ago when I first made this theory looking up Steve Young's Wikipedia article. So this almost could have happened, and I'm going to do a video on it. So here we go. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if? An NFL theory. Steve Young is a Hall of Fame quarterback that played his career with the Buccaneers and the 49ers from 1986 to 1999 before he suffered a concussion in 1999 that ended his career. However, during the 1999 offseason, he actually was offered to be the starting quarterback job for the Broncos. He declined it, of course, because of his injuries. So that didn't happen. But what if it did happen? That would be kind of interesting, as Young is a Hall of Fame quarterback, and of course he would be offered a starting quarterback for the Broncos, who just 2 years earlier won their second Super Bowl with Elway, and they just came off a terrible 1999 season when they went 6-10, missing the playoffs, and they needed probably a spark to try and keep the momentum up for maybe another Super Bowl run, because most of the team was still in place from the two Super Bowl champs, so they definitely want to try and get that again. So in this timeline, the 38-year-old Steve Young decided to take the offer. Now, despite the offer, there's no guarantee that the Steve Young is going to be good with the Broncos. First off, his last season with the 49ers in 1999, in the 3 games he started, he had a 60.9 QB rating. He completed less than 54% of his passes, 3 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. Plus the injury concerns. So not only was he not good, he had injury concerns. And I would actually be pretty concerned about him if the Broncos decided to have him as a starter. Not only would he play bad, but he would probably not play the entire season for injuries. But of course, we have no idea, and you can't say for sure he's going to get injured or whatsoever, pretty much. But I don't think the Broncos would play really good. In fact, I think the only highlight for the Broncos in 2000 would be the final week of the season when they hosted the 49ers, as Steve Young, if he played in that game, would play against his former team, which the Broncos won that game, and maybe he would get that win just like they did in this timeline if he played. But in the end, looking at, just in case if he played the entire season, looking at the way the Broncos played and how I think he would play, the Broncos would be very disappointed this year. Instead of going to 11-5, they would only improve by 1 game from 1999 and finish 7-9. In the updated 2000 standings, the NFC does not change whatsoever. The AFC changes though a lot, as the Raiders now have the number 1 seed, the Titans fall to number 2 seed, and the Jets make the playoffs as the 5th seed, and the Colts make it in as the 6th seed. And of course, we begin with our first change in the wild card for the playoffs on the AFC side, with the Ravens hosting the Jets, which would be a rematch from the previous week. And the Jets just barely got in. They actually put up a good fight against the Ravens in that number 1 defense. The only reason the Ravens won that was because of 2 punt returns for touchdowns. Take them away, and the game was tied. So I think the Jets actually could go into Baltimore once again and actually beat the Ravens this time around, and in that Super Bowl run, as they would visit the Raiders, who they lost to earlier in the year, and I think the Raiders would get that win again. Followed by, of course, the Dolphins losing to the Titans, as I predicted beforehand. And then, of course, the AFC Championship is now the Titans at the Raiders. Of course, they didn't play this year, so we have no idea. Although they played the year before the Raiders became really, really good, and the Titans won that one. I think it was pretty close. I think the Raiders would win this one, especially since we saw 2 years later the Raiders destroyed them in the AFC Championship in the regular season. So now the Super Bowl is the Raiders and the Giants, as the Giants don't have to worry about the number 1 defense stomping them. But I got a funny feeling they're probably going to struggle in this game, and I think the Raiders might just get it. So the Raiders would get their first title since 1983. And after that disappointing season, if he even played the entire season, I think Young would just retire. And if he didn't, I highly doubt the Broncos would bring him back after such a disappointing year. So, that's it. Hey, it's just a theory. An NFL theory. Thanks for watching. Yeah, kind of short, I know. And probably not as good as it probably would be, but I just don't really see much. It was just something I saw a year ago when I was going through his Wikipedia article, and I thought it would be a very interesting theory to talk about. But that'll wrap it up here as next one. Oh boy, next one's going to be very interesting. So see you guys then.